Well, good afternoon and welcome to yet another edition of our countdown to the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Today, I am joined by Christine Dailey, no stranger to the running scene, always one that's up in the women's field. And we picked her as one of the favorites to try and win the Bermuda Day Half Marathon. Thank you very much, Christine, for joining. Obviously, we're 10 days away from this year's spectacle. What aspects of the Bermuda Day Marathon do you feel suits your running style best? And have you adapted your training this year to capitalize on those strengths?
Hi, Earl. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to chat, and obviously 10 days from now, excited to run. I was just saying that really felt like it snuck up on me here. So the race itself, geez, I don't know what I can say about the hills, the heat and the humidity that best suits my training. It's quite a challenge altogether, but my training this time, not necessarily specific to the race, but just this training block, I've really increased my mileage. I've done the most weekly mileage that I've ever done. And as I've spoken before, just been focusing on my form over the last year, really, just to avoid injury and any back trouble and try to switch from landing on my heels and getting rid of that heel strike, which just gives me a better cadence. And I've definitely seen an improvement in that. So hopefully those things can lead to a good May 24th performance.
Yeah. You got it playing. It's playing back. I can hear it. But yeah, when we start talking about the atmosphere on the day, how do you feel you are able to harness that energy of the crowds and of the day itself to fuel your performance during the race? Because obviously, the crowd could actually make you or break you in a race, can't it? Because you can get excited and do something that is out of the norm at times. So how do you control that?
Yeah, you definitely get excited. And the crowd is, I think, one of the reasons why most people love this race. And in my opinion, it's the reason why it's the best half marathon I've ever done, because the crowd's so great and it carries you the whole 13 miles. But it just gives you this sense of adrenaline the whole time, which is amazing. For me, I can harness that energy. I like to harness that energy to just lead me through. And when you're feeling rough, just let it take you the next step, because you know you're going to see the next person, and they're going to be cheering for you. So in my opinion, it makes you. I'm sure it could break you because perhaps you might just get a bit too excited and go a little bit too hard. I think I've run this race enough to know my limits there. So I'm just really going to use that crowd to help me.
Yeah. When we talk about the weather, often that plays a factor in how things go. Obviously, we have starting in the East End, you have that causeway, that long stretch right at the start of the race. That the heat is coming up, the sun's on your back, and things like that. But what strategies do you have in place to manage potential heat, humidity, or even wind on that open for that? What is it? A mile stretch of open air?
Yeah, listen, don't even get me started on the wind because I am so tired of the wind, but I think we're coming to the season where that's ending. I think anybody that's been training over the winter will be familiar enough with wind that should not bother them on the day. The humidity is another story. I think like the first part of that race is flat, so people could get carried away, I think, because you're like, oh yeah, you've got the adrenaline from the start.
Yes.
It's flat. sun's behind your back. You're like, we're good to go. And then you hit that first long hill. And it's like, oh, yeah, humidity settling in, you're 3 miles in, and you're like, ooh. So I think just, don't get carried away at the start. For me personally, I like to run this race just based on effort, which is, sometimes if I were to be running a half marathon, say in the United States, I might have like a goal pace. And then I would just stick to that, to stick to my watch. But I find this race is better based on effort, because you just never know what the heat, the humidity, and the wind is going to throw at you. And I personally find if I'm running on effort, it doesn't matter what the conditions are, as long as my effort is consistent, the pace will adjust. So if it's humid and hot, my effort to run a certain pace will just adjust with it. So my pace will naturally slow down, and that's fine, because the way I see those factors is that everybody else is dealing with the same thing. Everyone's going to be dealing with the same conditions and going through the same challenges.
Yeah. Looking back at previous Bermuda Day half marathons, is there a particular moment or memory that stands out as a especially meaningful or challenging, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, this race is so iconic and so much fun that I feel like every race I could probably come up with a meaningful moment and a challenging moment. I think one is 2 years ago I ran, and coming out, I guess the last time I ran this direction, 2 years ago, I just had my son, my second son. He was probably 3 months old. And I was training for a half Ironman at the time. So I wasn't necessarily focused on May 24th, but I was very fit. And I don't know, it just must have been one of those days, obviously hot and humid. And we're coming up Flats Hill, and I just got the worst cramp I've ever had. And I don't really cramp up, so my stomach was just completely seized. And I was like, wow, I was just never really had this happen to me. So I make it to the top of the hill, and I was like, this is so bad. I'm going to have to stop. I'll just have to pull out. That's fine. And I was probably maybe the sixth woman, maybe. So I was like, that's fine. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run through this. And I kept saying, I'm going to run until Summersfield. And if I get to Summersfield and I still feel this bad, if I still feel 10 out of 10 pain, I'll stop. And I just pushed through, and I pushed through, and I slowed down, and I passed somebody, another woman. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Okay, starting to feel a little bit better, but you never know what other people are challenging themselves with. So I'm like, I'm not feeling great, but I'm making progress here. Now I'm the fourth woman. I don't feel great, but I feel better. But I kept going. And I just had this mental game the entire rest of the way with myself. And I ended up finishing third that year. And I just had such a terrible run, but I remember feeling so proud of myself, because it was such a learning experience for me. Yeah, it's gonna, some days it's really gonna suck, and some days it's really gonna hurt, and sometimes you're gonna have a challenge that you weren't expecting or haven't had before, but how can you just progress through it and push yourself as hard as you can go? So I think not that was that meaningful, but it was a huge learning experience for me in terms of running and mental challenges in a race. So yeah, that one is a big one. And then last year I had probably one of the most fun races that I've ever had, running out of Somerset. So to me, it was just really memorable. I just went out, it was really comfortable. I felt so good the entire race, just one of those runs you have and you're feeling amazing. And I was in the lead for the majority of the race. So I was behind the truck, and it was just everything you could like dream of running that race, and everyone's cheering. It was just so fun. And as I got into town, Gail surged a few times and got caught up to me. And at the end, she ended up passing me and taking the win. So I ended up coming second. So two things for that race. It was super memorable because it was just the most fun and run that I've ever had. But two is I learned a lot about racing and finishing strong and closing out a race. So that was pretty memorable because it was another huge learning experience for me.
Sure. Now the running community in Bermuda is really supportive. How much does that support mean to you as you compete in this iconic race? Only because you have people that run every week or every time there's a race, and then on Bermuda Day you have people that challenge themselves, but they're so supportive of everyone. How encouraging is that for you as you participate?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think Bermuda has one of like the best running communities there is. It's very, very cool. It's actually just really cool how many races that Bermuda has throughout the year, let alone how many people participate in them. If you think about like the population here and how many people are actually participating, it's incredible. And what's even cooler is just, people come out and they're just starting their running journey. Or there's people that have been in the game for a long time. And I think what's very cool about this specific race is that that's where you get everybody. You get people that are like end of the year in December, like, you know what, next year, May 24th, I'm going to train for it. I've never run before, but I'm going to do it. And it's just really inspiring to see that no matter what your running abilities are, no matter how long you've been running for, I think everybody kind of just gets together and is cheering for everyone no matter what. And it's very, very cool, very special.
Sure. As obviously you came second last year, so you would be in a category of a favorite. There's often a level of expectations that you put on yourself. How do you manage that pressure leading up to the race, and what is your primary goal for this year's event? Is it purely about getting that revenge, completing that finish, personal best, or is it something else? Because people set different goals for themselves each year. So which one?
Yeah, it's tough. The pressure is hard. I think I've put a lot of pressure on myself in the past, and had really high expectations for myself. And let's be honest, everyone wants to win, right? Yeah. Everyone wants to win. That would be the dream. But I think my expectations for myself are appropriate. I don't have as high expectations for myself this year as I think I've done in the past, which is a good thing. I think I've had a lot of pressure on myself before. But my husband reminds me that pressure is a privilege. So I'm using that, and that I'm sticking by it. And to be honest, I'm just grateful to be able to get to the start line feeling this strong, because I do feel like my training has been really good. I've been injury-free, knock on wood. But yeah, my expectations are appropriate. I'm a mom of 2 young kids. I'm training a lot and really, really enjoying that journey. And I think the journey is what it's all about, really. A race lasts, less than an hour and a half. And the training has over 10 hours a week. So that part has been really fun. But like I said, I've got 2 young kids. I never sit down, except for right now, actually. So thank you for this. And I'm running a business. I'm a trainer. I'm on my feet all day. So I like to be busy. But yeah, it's a busy life. And I'm just looking forward to getting out there and leaving nothing on the table. I think that's kind of my goal, is just leave nothing on the table.
Great stuff. And final question, beyond the competition itself, what does participating in the Bermuda Day Half Marathon mean to you personally as an athlete, and what message do you hope your performance sends to aspiring young female runners or male runners on the island itself?
Yeah, to be part of this event as a runner is really special because it's such a big day for Bermuda. And a runner or not a runner, everybody is out there. They're either cheering, they're have the parade, they're running. So it's really special to actually be able to be a runner. And I can tell you that even if you're not competing for the win, just running the race, you feel like you're a special part of it because you're actually running, and it's a very, very cool. So it's an iconic race. It's a special day for Bermuda. So I think what's cool about it is, from a running standpoint, there's opportunities to be involved. Even if you're not running full 13 miles, there's ways that people can be involved in the relay. So I think the message is like, get involved, because there's no better feeling than setting a goal and working towards it and then accomplishing it. So I think the message is, work hard, set a goal for yourself, whether it be to run in the relay, whether it to be to run the whole thing, whether it be a time goal or just to complete it. Once you do it, you're going to be addicted, and you're going to want to set the next goal for yourself, the next goal for yourself. It just feels really cool to be a part of such a historic day for our country.
Yeah. I want to say all the best. We know it's not an easy race. It's not an easy ride. It's one that you challenge yourself each and every year, and you know the work you put in is what you get out of it. So
Yeah.
all the best.
Thank you.
Every Friday, enjoy every minute of it. The atmosphere, the whole bit, and hopefully, you know, with a bit of luck, it changes this year for you. And,
one day it'll be my day. You just never know when it's going to be.
Yes. Well, we want to wish you all the best, and
thank you.
See you at the finish line next week, Friday.
Awesome.
And, for you, hopefully, it's a day of enjoyment and fulfilling, especially for the young kids as well, because they'll be at the finish line waiting for you.
Well, that's it. Like, my kids usually come to a few places on the race course, so. Right. Like, you know, I got to make it to all the checkpoints, because if I show up, if they get there and there's no mommy, then what happened to mommy? Where's mommy?
Yeah, you have a lot of explaining to do, not just to the people that's waiting for you.
Exactly.
Those two more importantly.
So I got to get there. I got to make it.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Earl.
Good luck.
Thanks. Appreciate it.